For nearly 3 decades, the first sound in the house on Christmas morning had always been the same: the soft click of the kitchen light. I woke before the sun, just like I had every year since we moved into this house. The air was still dark and quiet, and the snow outside the window made the world look calm and untouched. Coffee first, then the turkey. The routine never changed. By 6 in the morning, the kitchen smelled like butter and rosemary. The counter was filled with bowls, peeled potatoes soaking in water, dough resting beneath a cloth, and handwritten recipe cards that had been folded and unfolded for years. I never minded the work. Cooking Christmas dinner for the whole family had always felt like my place in the world. My mother had done the same when I was a child. She believed that traditions held families together when everything else in life tried to pull them apart. By noon, the house slowly began to fill with noise. My son Daniel arrived first, stomping snow from his boots and carrying a bag of wine bottles. Behind him came his wife, Caroline. Caroline was always perfectly dressed, even on snowy days. Her long beige coat looked like it belonged in a magazine rather than on our icy driveway. She smiled politely when she hugged me. Caroline and I had never argued, but over the years, she had developed a habit of improving things in my house. The first Christmas after their wedding, she suggested a different table arrangement. The second year, she brought new dishes because they looked better in photos. Small things, always said with a smile, and I had always let it go. By evening, the house was warm and full. Children ran through the hallway. Laughter echoed from the living room. The smell of roasted turkey, cinnamon, and garlic filled every corner of the house. I had been cooking for almost 12 hours. When the turkey finally came out of the oven, my back ached and my feet throbbed, but the sight of the finished table made it worth it. Candles glowed softly. Plates were perfectly arranged. Everything was ready. I placed the final dish, roasted vegetables, next to the turkey. That's when I heard Caroline speaking near the doorway. She didn't know I was close enough to hear. Her voice was soft, almost casual. "Maybe it would be easier if she just ate downstairs in the basement kitchen," she said. "There's barely enough room for everyone up here." For a moment, the world felt strangely quiet. The spoon in my hand stopped moving. I stared at the steam rising from the food and tried to convince myself I had misunderstood. But I hadn't. She was talking about me. In my house. After cooking all day. I didn't react right away. Instead, I calmly untied my apron and folded it on the counter. My hands were steady. When I walked into the dining room, everyone was already taking their seats. Caroline was adjusting the candles at the center of the table. No one noticed anything unusual at first. I walked slowly to the head of the table. My chair. The chair I had sat in for almost 30 years. Conversation gradually faded as people realized where I was standing. I rested my hands on the back of the chair. "I think there's been a small misunderstanding," I said calmly. The room became silent. "I've been cooking since before sunrise today." No one spoke. This dinner was prepared here, in this kitchen, by me. Across the table, Caroline looked up, her expression suddenly uncertain. "I just thought," she began. I raised my hand gently, not angrily, just enough to stop the explanation. "There's no need to make anything easier," I said quietly. Then I pulled out the chair and sat down. The sound of the chair sliding across the floor echoed through the room. For several seconds, no one moved. Then my son Daniel stood up. Without saying a word, he picked up his chair and moved it closer to mine before sitting again. That small gesture said more than any speech ever could. Around the table, people slowly reached for the dishes again. Dinner continued, but something in the room had shifted. No one mentioned the basement again. And for the rest of the evening, I remained exactly where I belonged, at the head of my own table.